So I thought we'd start things out a little bit differently. Hi, my name's Andrew. I'm the guy behind Beta64. 4 years ago today, I decided to create this channel for one reason, to have fun. And honestly, I never expected you all to be here watching my little educational show. But here we are, 4 years later. 4 years. But this year, I decided to do what many of you have requested. I'm going to explain just how Beta64 started. I mean, you guys have been asking, where's the beta of Beta64? How did this begin? Where did the idea come from? Why did you even start? So, here we go with the beta of Beta64.
The idea of Beta64 technically began years before I started the channel in 2012. I was really into glitches back then, especially on the GameCube. The one where you could walk underwater in Super Mario Sunshine, that one was my personal favorite. But one day, I was searching for glitches for Luigi's Mansion, and instead of finding them, I actually found footage of when the game was shown at E3. Now, I have played Luigi's Mansion a ton, so I was very surprised when I saw that footage. It was so different. The timer, the bashers, everything was just, it blew my mind. So I decided I'm gonna research this at Luigi's Mansion E3, and I got to many different websites, and I started researching everything I could about it. I learned so much that I was obsessed at that time. And basically, I would just keep researching a bunch of different games, any game I could find. I loved researching game development stories because ever since I was young, 8 years old, I always wanted to be a video game developer, always. So I was like, I've got to see how the real people do it, the big names, Nintendo. I really wanted to figure out how they created amazing games like Super Mario 64 or Luigi's Mansion. And after a while, I knew the backstory of so many games, a ton of them. And I would be telling my friends about it over meals all the time. I was probably really annoying talking about it all the time, but it was what I was passionate about. And then one day, I remember this day, early 2012, I think. I got into a conversation with some people about working on YouTube for a living and how crazy that was because, being able to make a living doing something you love doesn't exactly happen every day. So if you find that, never let it go. Never let it go. For me, I love video editing and graphic design too. I always have. So of course, the idea of making YouTube videos for a living was pretty appealing to me. Plus, I've done videos in the past with my friends on YouTube. It wasn't exactly foreign to me. I've done this multiple times. So really the only deal was I had to find my niche, that thing that I love to do that other people just haven't really done yet, or at least not perfected it yet. And after I thought about it for a couple of months, I decided I'm gonna create this channel called Beta64, a channel talking about the development of video games. Now I get this asked a lot. Why did I call it Beta64? Well, actually, first off, it's very simple. I took the term beta, which is usually used when talking about early versions of video games, even though that's technically not correct, but I took that word beta and I added 64 to it because I like the Nintendo 64. And now that I think about it, it probably also was because I watched a lot of Mega 64, and I don't know, are they still good? But after I had the name all settled, had that all good, time to go for the logo. And so I decided I'm gonna model this after the Nintendo 64's logo because Beta64, B-E-T-A, and there are 4 sides to the Nintendo 64 logo. What could be better? But before I created the 3D logo, the spinning one, I tried making one in 2D with Illustrator. And as you can see, it's pretty bad. I made it and I was like, wow, I don't think I could have done any worse. So I decided I'm gonna make this 3 dimensions. And after creating it, I realized, oh, this is perfect. I don't think I could do any better. I love it. So I decided to go with the 3D logo, partially because it looked better. Well, mostly because it looked better, but also because I needed to create the intro. And I already had an idea for the intro. At first, when I was considering a 2D logo, I was thinking of modeling my intro after Balloon Shop, an old YouTube channel, not around anymore, still very good videos. But I would have the logo appear, followed by some text that says Beta64, and then a computerized voice would say, Beta64 or whatever. But when I decided to switch to 3D, I shifted my focus and decided to recreate the intro to the Nintendo 64 disk drive with my logo. But there was a problem. My old laptop just couldn't handle it. It literally would just crash, restart. Everything was just a mess. So instead of going for that complex little whoosh, I decided to go for a simple spinning animation. And once I got a better computer years later, I decided I'm gonna do this. I'm gonna create the Nintendo 64 disk drive intro. Boom, I did it. And that was version 2, which was my second year intro. And I used that and I loved it. I loved it because it was fulfilling exactly what my first vision was. It was great. But as you know now, if you've watched any of my videos, I've changed it to where it's now a bunch of characters around and it all comes together and explodes into my logo and stuff like that. That version was created by Nicholas. He actually asked me in an email, I was like, hey, I see your intro. It's pretty good. I think I can make it better. And I said, go for it. And after a few revisions, as you can see here, we kind of finally came down to our current intro with the unused Link mask, the weird boss from Luigi's Mansion that went unused, and just a bunch of different characters from games that I love. Animal Crossing, Spyro, Crash Bandicoot. Oh man, I love that intro. And I actually created the music that goes along with it. In case you're wondering, it's the remix of the One It or On It, depending on how you name it, from Earthbound. And whew, I'm so proud of that intro. We did such a good job. Nicholas, if you're watching, thank you. Thank you. Now, with my logo and intro made, I decided to create my first Beta64 episode on my really old, really crappy, lappy computer with another old, very crappy mic. Actually, my first mic that I used for all my early Beta64 episodes up until about a year, I was using a free mic I'd gotten from SoundHound. Back when they were like, we'll give you a free mic if you sign up for an account and say you're gonna do stuff. So I did it just to get the free mic. But it got the job done, and my first episode of Beta64 was completed. But it wasn't Luigi's Mansion, as some would think. That was the first episode I uploaded. It was not the first episode I created. My first episode was actually on the rise and fall of the Nintendo 64 disk drive.
The Nintendo 64 was, and still is, one of the most revolutionary consoles ever made. In fact, it was so revolutionary that its controller required half a page on just how to hold it. Now that's what I call smarts.
Oh boy, still holds up.
But after I finished creating the video, I was so proud. I was so proud because it meant I could do it. I could do it. I finally could prove to myself that I can make Beta64. But as you know, I didn't release this episode. So why? Well, actually, after watching it all the way through, I realized that I messed up my information in the video and it wasn't accurate. About half the information was completely wrong. And I was kind of disappointed. But that's when I decided. I kind of made a pact with myself. I was like, every single bit of information I find for future Beta64 episodes, I'm going to triple check, freaking quadruple check if I have to. If I can find 3 sources, then I consider it accurate. So that way I can create an accurate depiction of a game's development. And since then, I've always done that. Sure, it's made videos harder to make. It takes a lot longer, but I think it's worth it to be able to create an accurate video. So after I made that pact, I was like, I need to create a new video, something for the holidays, because Halloween was coming up. Because I made the last video August something, late August. So I had September, October to go through. I'm like, 2 months, I can create a Beta64 episode in that time, no problem. So I decided Halloween, Luigi's Mansion, the first game, the game that got me into this. I wanted to create everything that I knew from years of research and put it in one video. And yeah, I definitely did not get it done in those 2 months. It actually took September, October, November, and December to get this video done. 4 months, because I had to plan it. I didn't even use a script. I actually chose to memorize all the information I had found and just talk about it conversationally while recording. And it worked, but literally the recordings part, just recording the audio, took 1 month because I recorded just a little bit every day. But I definitely did not get it done by Halloween, and instead, I released it December 11th, 2012, 4 years ago today, and it worked. I mean, look where we are now. Obviously, from that crappy mic made on a crappy computer, somehow I managed to create Beta64. Thanks to you guys. It's really all you guys. But, you know, in these 4 years, a lot of things have happened. A lot of things. I had purchased a lot of new equipment. I got a new computer, new microphone, new capture card, bunch of stuff. I've created new series like reviews by Beta64 and more recently Beta64 minis. I've made friends with other YouTubers like my good friend Ryder from Foot of a Ferret, great guy. I've gone to E3 2 years in a row. That was on the bucket list, but whew, check that off. I've interviewed people who I never thought I'd be able to talk to, like Craig Duncan from Rare. He's actually the studio head of Rare. And I've also talked with Playtonic Games, all the people who made those childhood games like banjo-kazooie, Donkey Kong 64, whew, and now they're making ukulele, so. And I've even started Twitch streaming too. Oh man. Which is something that I've also always wanted to do. I've been playing games. I've actually been streaming myself going through the files of video games. Like, you know, because everyone's like, how do you get to those unused files? So I'm showing you how to do that live with, like, recently I did one on an early build of Mario Kart Double Dash, and we actually found four unused images, and I think 3 of them weren't even documented. So, yeah, I'm having a blast on Twitch. It's so much fun. I'm having so much fun. Can you believe it? Can you believe we've gotten this far in only 4 years? I mean, it went from this little simple idea, just a little idea, and now we've reached almost 200,000 subscribers. Whew. It's all thanks to you guys. We've come a long way. Oh, it's insane. It's insane. But we're not quitting. No matter how horrifying my college schedule gets, no matter how hard it is to make these videos, I'm not quitting. I'm in this for years, maybe even life. I don't know, it depends on how long you guys want to keep watching me. But let's meet again. 5 years. Once we get to 5 years, we'll see where we are next, because every year we're doing some crazy stuff. Thank you. If I don't say it enough, I honestly really appreciate you guys. I love you guys. You're so amazing. Thank you. So, here's to another year. Let's keep growing, guys. Man, let's make the next year even better, okay? Even better. 2017, here we come.